Well, first of all, congratulations on Adverse. What a group of people to get together and do a movie. It just seemed like it was one name better than another, and you're playing opposite Mickey Rourke, which has got to be an education.
Oh yeah, it was an amazing experience. I learned a lot working with him, and he's such an intense performer, and every ounce of his being is in character to the point where it was confusing to those watching. Obviously the character of Caden has so many ailments that people on set were sometimes concerned for Mickey. And then you would go see him work out between like a big camera setup and he had some time and the guy's got a six pack. Like obviously he's just a very talented actor.
Yeah, with Mickey, you think he's Mickey like in the movies, and he's one of the nicest human beings ever.
Yeah. The first time that I met him, I didn't actually get to, I didn't understand that. My first introduction to Mickey was we're shooting downstairs in the Viper room, and he didn't introduce himself, and I didn't want to bug him or anything. I was excited to work with him, so we do the first scene. He goes off book. I follow with him. We're doing dramatic improv. The scene goes on for a while. Finally, it dies down. Brian yells cut, and he looks at me and he goes, "Hey, I'm Mickey." And I kind of I guess I don't know. I earned my stripes in that moment and uh, achieved an introduction. And then as he warmed up to the set and to me, the stories he would tell were just amazing.
You're very young when you started your acting career. With Rookie of the Year and a kid in King Arthur's Court and all of that, and now you're taking on those roles that I think will shock people. I think this role is just a terrific. It's an actor's dream to play somebody like this in a revenge movie.
Well, it is certainly. I'm very very thankful for this role, and I do agree with you. So thank you for recognizing the change that this role is for me. I really am aiming to have this be a turning point for me.
Oh, really?
To turn more really into my roots as a dramatic actor. Comedy was my weak point back in the day, and my acting coach and mentor said you can only be as strong as your weakest link. So let's work on your comedy stuff. And then I wound up in a 10 plus comedic career, and now I feel like Mickey Rourke being a boxer in his off time that I've essentially pretended to be left-handed for 10 plus years, and I'm really right-handed. So I'm switching up my stance with Adverse and showing everyone that I'm really a right-handed boxer.
One of the great things I think about working in an ensemble like this, because you've got so many different types of acting styles, from Sean Austin to Penelope and Miller. I mean, it's a mix. It's like you're making a cake, and all these ingredients have different tastes, but when you put them all together, you get Adverse, which is just a shockingly gritty, wonderful tip of the hat to the 90s movies, and yet it's very relevant today.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it was great to see so many people playing against type as well. Sean Astin. He doesn't often play sleazy, boss kind of guy. And
So
then
close to
obviously you got
home.
even like Shelley Regner from Pitch Perfect. She's very against type in her role as Macmillan. So yeah, it was great fun, and I actually employed a new sort of technique even in my acting style. I'd only been, and I'll raise my pinky up when I talk about it. I've only been strictly Stanislavski, and back in the day, like in the early 20s, I investigated Meisner and read Uta Hagen's book and saw her speak in the late 90s, and it wasn't really working for me. But Brian had done like a hybrid, which I guess is technically called practical aesthetics. And that's what I kind of used for the first time on this film. And I don't think I'll ever look back.
You're in the moment. We can tell that as an audience as well. But the story in Adverse also is one of those about, again, as I said, it's a revenge film, but it's family. You're going up against, the bad guys who are also, a family. It's really an intricate and well written script.
Well, Brian A. Metcalf and I had worked on several films before, so I got to read an early draft that he showed me. Hey, check this thing out that I just wrote, and I called him immediately and I said, you got to let me play Ethan, and he was like, well, I don't know. I've got something particular in mind, and I don't necessarily know if it's in your, if you could do it. And so we started doing work sessions because I was going to prove to him that I could do this. And I don't think he understood my roots, and that I knew some people like Ethan that I based this character on from the late 80s
Yeah.
that were in these types of worlds, and I don't need to get into that. But after like a couple of weeks of changing how I looked and sounded and moved, he finally agreed to let me have the role. And then we started working with Kelly Argent. At the time, she wasn't our other producing partner. She was playing the role of Mia, and then she became invaluable and stepped up on the producing side. But the cornerstone of what you're talking about is the relationship between Mia and Ethan.
Yeah.
And so we focused on, first the character and then that relationship. Those were the two cornerstones.
Do you always want to constantly stretch yourself and do different things? And what is something that you haven't attempted that you'd like to?
I have had it in my mind for the past, decade or so to have something like this,
Mm.
to really move into playing character leads. Similar to like we've watched Daniel Day-Lewis or Gary Oldman or even, Chris Cooper. Um, I that's my aspiration. So I just want to do different things and lose myself in the role and try not to get in my own way. I don't want whatever I achieve, I don't want that to be a distraction to the role. And that a perfect example of that is someone like Johnny Depp. Johnny is fantastic at in embracing a character and becoming that character, but his fame is also like a distraction.
I think you did this too in Adverse. Johnny knows when he's not having a line, as I think you do. We call it stage business. You're always doing something that keeps focus on not only the scene, but it helps the person who's sharing that scene with you. And that's all part of being in the moment, I think.
Yeah, I mean that's really a part of the practical aesthetics of focusing on those props, which again, I'm very thankful that Brian talked me into trying something new with my approach. And like I said, I got to go do some more studying. I got to go back to school.
Well, that doesn't hurt at all. We should always be honing our talents. Are you going to hop behind the camera more and more and do producing and directing?
Yeah, I mean, I do love the busyness that it gives me. The downtime that I see as just an actor on a film set. I mean, it drives me crazy. That's why I started playing guitar and and writing music, because I had to fill the downtime with something. You can only prepare the scene, for so much, and really the preparation is leading up to the day. If you over prepare it at the moment, it's like over seasoning your food. At a certain point you have to go, okay, we're gonna stop here, and then we're gonna revisit this when we get back. I couldn't do what Daniel Day-Lewis, supposedly has done. Well, I mean, I guess I've heard the stories of Abraham Lincoln, of him being in character. I don't know if that's true because I can't verify it.
I actually talked to Daniel about that, and it's not really true.
Right. So, but
Yeah.
he did stay in a wheelchair for nearly the entire shoot of My Left Foot.
Yeah. Well, that's because he was tired. Shows
Is that why
respect.
he made them carry him over the cables though on set?
Yeah. Well, he is a great actor, and but I think what happened was because of My Left Foot, he didn't take the Lincoln thing all that way. I mean, honestly, because people were, talking with him on the down times and all of that. He wasn't really, that locked in on that. But what a great actor he is.
Yeah.
Before I go, I want to throw out some love to Allison Baver, who's a good friend of mine, who appears in your film.
Yes. Awesome. I had a feeling when I saw the interview for today, I was like, wait, is that Is that Allison's? I was trying to Google connect it, and I figured I would ask you. So that's awesome.
Yeah, she lives out here in Salt Lake City, and she's a delight. She's just a real professional, and we all love her out here. But yeah, I wish we could have done this in person. I really appreciate your time, and this movie is hitting all video on demand platforms like today.
I think it's on, it's on the two ones I use, which is Apple TV and Prime Video,
Yeah,
Amazon Prime.
yeah, and your performance up against Mickey Rourke is David and Goliath. It's just an amazing group of scenes, and like I said, if anybody's an acting student out there that wants to see a scene, this is a movie to watch. It's gritty, it's fun, and yet you're going to get blown away by the performances.
Tony, thank you so much for your kind words. I appreciate it.
Take care and go get some breakfast.
Will do.